fucking name. What's up, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to Alan Dresser. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Sounding good. I know.
Yeah.
So I started out today. I had slept in. I had turned my alarm off. I wanted to see how far into the day I slept because I've been exhausted lately and I was up late. And I had to go off and get a bunch of things done, but hay fever hit me hard in the face, and just everything all at once, sneezing and snotting and everything. And I only stopped taking my antihistamine 2 days ago, and I've just been a pool of snot today. So I go out and get myself antihistamine. Less than an hour later, all of the symptoms cleared up. Fine. It just goes to show how much of an allergy I've got to something in my life that I have no fucking clue about. However, we do have two of the party are not able to come. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just be this for the rest of my life. But oh god, thankfully, a bit of spit went down the wrong way. Thankfully, I've found a place where I can get my antihistamines super cheap now, so I have got 3 months worth just from today, which is very cool. Anyway, two of the party are not able to join us today, sadly. They are Ash and Briar. They're both clerics with the same deity / focus, so they're both going to be just like praying, focusing to their deity together. Wherever the party goes, they will go, but they'll be silent in the background, just focusing together. So that we don't hold everybody to Dreidel if we don't want to stay in Dreidel. But given that Steve's not been able to be with us for a bit, and I think Ruby, you weren't here last session. No, you were here last session. You weren't here last week. So we've had a break. People have been missing. So this is our time to sort of wrap up, reintroduce some of the older ideas that we might have missed because people weren't here to focus on them, and just get everybody up on the same page. So, what does everybody remember of what we're doing in Dreidel? What's been happening up to now? Give me any kind of ideas that you have of what might be going on, and you will get the hero token for it. The auto pass token.
We
gave some tools to some dwarves.
We've
did.
Sorry.
So yeah, Ruby, you get your hero token. Isabel, you were saying.
Sorry, we covered the other rocks that made it look like. I think you said like fingers of a hand.
Kind of, yeah, because 4 of them are together and then 1 of them is apart. So it looks like it almost looks like it's like fingers of a hand is the best way for me to describe it. Is that it's like 4 of them stand together, and 1 of them is slightly further apart from them. So this was one of the things that we'd basically uncovered last session. We'll go into that in more detail in a second. Victor and Aldrin, do you remember any details?
Dwarves being excited and running away, trying to claim fame for having found it, and I don't think either of them are going to get what they wanted.
Also very good. We'll make sure you've got the hero token too.
Thank you.
And Victor, what do you remember of what's been going on? It can be a couple of sessions ago if remember you not being here.
And my memory is in real life awful. But we
what do you remember of what you were doing last time you were here?
Yeah, I found a message, I believe, from...
Yeah, so you had left a coin in...
Noit found a note saying, look deeper.
Yeah, you found a note, you left a coin in its place. When you
came
back to check, there was a gingerbread man there.
Yeah. Yes, which I think assume means go back to the place, the gingerbread house.
Right. Which you remember is where?
Outside of... near Ironfront?
Yeah, near...
which is my...
where you grew up?
Home. Yeah, and also near the place we fought, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the place that you thought was sort of in the wilderness on its own, but kind of nearish to Ironfront, yeah. So, yeah, I'd say that you're all fully up to speed. You know what's going on. What Victor had seen while you were away, Steve, is that while you were going south towards the blacksmith shop in the southern part of Dreidel, that there was when you had time, you were able to look at the footprints in the snow and see that they didn't just sort of blend into all the other footprints in the area; they just stopped. They just like those footprints just ended. And that was one of the curious things that you had noticed while you were down there.
So they would fade rather than just disappearing, yeah.
Right. We didn't. We specifically didn't move on from um, Dreidel so that you would still get the opportunity to go down and investigate if you wanted to when you got back to the table. The other thing that we uncovered while you were gone was everybody got some fucking incredible rolls on using the mason's tools to break apart the rock formations around everything. Basically, you ended up completely uncovering all 5 of the standing stones. They stand between 5 and 6 feet tall, each of them. They are, as we've discussed, 4 of them stand sort of alongside of each other, and then one of them is slightly separated from the rest. It looks like it's been hewn from the same kind of rock, but almost at a different period. Maybe later, maybe before, we can't quite tell. And it's a slightly different style as well, so potentially different people doing it. The idea is that you've got 5 of these standing stones, each of them having a different word on the front of them. Other people have made notes of those names, but I will say them now. So there is the ZAQIQU. There is the KHIONE. There is MEFITE. There is PEITHO. And there is KERIA. Which, if I pronounce them correctly for all of you, spell out Zachichu, Kion, Mefit, Patho, and Keria. And those are your 5 words on the fronts of them. They've all got different sort of adornments, because alongside the words, the first of them that you saw just a peek of to begin with when you were last here, you saw different like carvings by hand, by multiple hands over different time periods, clearly, of people sailing and success and love and all of these other things, just sort of scrawled in, like carved in over the surface of it, completely adorning the thing from top to toe. There was others which are of like springs and life with leaves and animals. There are images of uh, uh, like a non-gendered figure standing with their feet together and their arms held out and low. On one of them, that one was Keone. Mefit is the one with the springs. There's one of like open mouth smiles, images of music and joy, laughter, and all of that. That one's Patho. And then the last one looks sort of like like the whole thing is carved into looking like a snake head at the very top, where the others are all sort of just smoothed over. And yeah, that one is away from the others. So that's where you are at the moment. You've got obviously some things that you want to be focused on doing together. You've got some things that you might want to focus on your own. Is there anything in particular that you guys want to talk about, think about now that you are awake after having your long rest?
Aldrin still thinks that it could potentially be a giant statue, and that's just the fingers of the hand sticking up out of the ground. Also, that it might have to do something with the people who are dying.
Oh, that yeah, that's right.
red.
That was a theory that you had, that it
Yeah.
might have to do with the people who died, about like surrounding Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Isabel totally wants to try and see if she can dig up the rest of the statue, but She totally believes Aldrin theory. I'm gonna start whacking the ground. Anyone want to join?
I'm not sure about that theory,
It might take a
It's
while.
just a thought. Yeah.
Maybe they just really weren't badly when it's
I wonder if, well, how long those rocks have been there. Are they in reverence of gods that are the same? It was like as old as orcs. I don't know.
Wait a but DM, was those were they dwarves that were here earlier?
They were
Yeah.
dwarves, yeah.
Oh, they should have been able to figure out the stone's history.
Well, you asked them about it, and they said that they hadn't seen anything like that before. They were just as clueless as you.
Ah,
It's
right.
older than the dwarves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Noted.
But
I mean, do
part of
we?
my theory was that what if this is the people who's being reborn in some fashion and like represent people, and that's why it could bring about doom.
Oh,
Hmm.
I mean, do we want to find out more about the rocks? Do we want to try and find where the dwarves have gone? Sounds like they've come from some place of academia, or do we want to head somewhere else? And I don't know.
Yeah, they went off to try and get clout for finding the stones.
I'm not sure if we can
Mm.
find much more here.
If we go, where do we want to go?
Is this just an odd question, and I don't know if this is intended, but this is the place where the sewers opened up to the elements, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So what happens if we go into the sewers and go towards where the statue would be, but under the sewers?
We could take a look. It might be worth
I mean,
trying.
Oh,
So
yeah.
long as we have a bath afterwards.
And we should watch out
Yeah.
for crocodiles too.
Yeah.
Well,
If you
provided they
give
haven't leveled up
me,
as well, we'll be fine.
if you give me just a raw intelligence check, an
Who?
intelligence ability check, whoever wants to.
May as well.
Mm. Normal.
Oh dear. I'm as dumb as a rock.
So, just so I know, Victor, are you going to be doing one as well, or?
I thought I'd done it. Sorry, I was trying not to
Oh, you're alright.
roll.
I was just, it's because if you got a higher
That's
score,
alright.
then it's different than what I would tell you.
There we go.
22.
Ooh.
Holy shit.
Yeah, let's
Carry
go.
us, Victor.
Oh, that's
Someone's
Oh, I
intelligent
did a
in
saving
the group.
throw.
yeah, that's a saving
Take 3
throw.
off. Sorry,
So
it's
we
a
take 3
19.
off.
Take
So it's
3
a
off.
19, yeah. So
Okay.
okay. So with a 19, and I think even Aldrin with a 13. Aldrin, you know enough about the cities that you've traveled through in the plus 100 years plus that you've been on this earth, this world. That sewers tend to go and follow the built up area. Victor, you know for sure from sneaking through, a lot of these tunnels and undercities and stuff, that, they don't tend to extend sewers off to the undeveloped parts of cities, and this is very much on the coast, right, sort of over on its own, very much away from the city. So the sewer probably isn't going to extend that far. If you wanted to go and explore in that direction, you'd probably have to dig your way there.
Huh.
I'll relay that to everybody.
Yeah.
So I
You
don't
just
think
see relief on Ruby's face
we
of
will
not
have
having to
to.
go into the sewers.
Just you could punch a lot of rocks though.
Ruby has a lot of Vietnam flashbacks in the sewers.
Here, let me just
Yo,
move you all
perhaps
so that you're all in the same room together.
perhaps we let our dwarf friends come back to excavate. Maybe they might have
Or we
better
can, if they
tools.
come, why don't we give them a job that they might want to do? We can suggest to them to go into sewers and go that way. They might want to do it, and we go off and do something else until then.
Yes, I would like to go home at some point to see what this note's about.
Ash and Briar
We can head to
are
Iron
sort of
Front.
focused together on their deity. They're both trying to reconnect with Ear.
If there's something we think is more pressing, then we can take care of that. But
I mean, there's solid leads to how to do anything about Ragnarok. Your leader's as good as any.
okay, then if you're happy to come with me, I'd appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Would I know the way from here, like how we'd get there?
Yeah, you remember going there. You
Yeah.
remember the last time that you came up here, you came from Iron Front directly, so you just follow that all the way back. Remember that was the time that you met the Holy Man for the first time out in the desert
Ah, in
wastes.
the desert, yeah. When we went over the bridge thing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool.
All right.
Yes, it's a little way, but I mean, we can head straight out, or if there's something anybody wants to look at further while we're in town.
Oh, wasn't there a the lava filled building?
You did want, yeah, you
Elemental
were
fella.
curious about the lava-filled place. There's one of the buildings over in the south side of Dreidel. You could hear, one of you, I think it was Isabel, could hear the bubbling of lava coming from inside
yeah, that
of
was me.
a building, and you were all kind of freaked out by the idea of it, and that there was an elemental in there.
Yeah, but there's an elemental in there, so maybe they're old enough to know what the rocks are about.
I mean,
Could we communicate with an
if
elemental?
they're a lava
Doesn't-
elemental, they may know about the rocks under the earth and such.
Oh,
Yeah.
Aldrin, you could probably comprehend their language, can't you?
Sure, but I don't know if I can survive the heat.
Anyone got ice?
Would we have any knowledge of whether an elemental is like sentient in that way or not? In like a kind of having a complex conversation kind of way.
I think that some of you have probably come across more unusual things than an elemental that can talk.
Yeah.
I think it wouldn't completely baffle the mind to come up with that as a concept. So I don't think that it would be immediately dismissible as a possibility.
I mean, we can try and talk to them, and if not, we'll leave, I suppose. I wanted to
All right.
check out the footprints in the south side of town anyway,
Yeah.
Sure.
so we can head that way and then make our way out.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, then
I'm-
we'll.
I'm
Sorry,
just
go ahead.
imagining me and Ruby just carrying Briar and Ash between us while they're praying.
Yeah,
Piggyback.
just piggybacks the whole time.
So
You take one, I take the
The
other.
only way to stop Ruby throwing a snowball at you.
well, see, this is the thing, right? I think that it's a very different kind of prayer to any other one that you might contemporize in the real world, because they are both worshipping the goddess Ear, who is the goddess of, like, the Norse goddess of life and nature. So to sort of pray to that, you kind of have to either create natural things, or you have to praise nature around you, and they'd just be looking around them and actively involving themselves in the life that they see. So that would be their kind of prayer in this context. So it wouldn't be sort of, hands raised, clasped together, eyes closed. They would be just sort of engaging in the environment around them and worshipping it as if it was direct from the goddess herself. So you wouldn't really be interrupting them. You'd just sort of be like pointing out other like creatures and natural things that they might just come across or might not have noticed yet. They wouldn't be catatonic, having to be carried. They're not prostrate on the ground.
Distracted by the pretty flowers.
Exactly. Of which there are very few to
Fine.
see.
Maybe
Ruby,
Ruby and Isabella just leapfrogging our way to the building then, and we're just having a whale of a time.
Nice. I love that. Okay, so you all head south. We go to the south side of Dreedle once more. You're all in the same spots as where were last time. So let me just rearrange everybody back to where you should be. So Briar and Ash should be there. And then Wolf, we delete. And then Isabel's there. Victor's the only one who's not here. So where did I leave Victor's token?
Where'd you go, Victor?
You're not on here, so let me just grab your token real quick. There you go. Right, wicked. So, you remember that it was on the east side of town. You've also, Victor, you would know that they've cleared up all of the zombies and undead that were around here. And yes, it was, before anybody asks, before anyone forgets, it was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde ghost zombie combo. The ghost was angry at his corporeal form still wandering the earth and doing stupid things. So, it was just a fun idea that I had. I saw it on Reddit and I had to turn it into a D&D NPC. So, you remember that this is the building that is bubbling with lava? You would just have to make it over there and speak to this guy, however you want to go about that.
Ready?
There shouldn't be any difficulty with you walking down this road. I've already cleared it of the walls and stuff that would obstruct you.
I mean, if they're friendly, they might be willing to receive. If we just go in nicely.
Well,
I mean, that's kind of the question, though. Can any of us survive in a room full of lava? And I mean full of lava.
In D&D terms or real life?
In real life,
life,
definitely not. In real life, you'd have to be 100 feet away from it, and even then it'd be like 400 degrees Celsius at
Watch
least.
Watch me.
And in real life, a building wouldn't sound lava, let alone us.
Yeah, I think in real life you have to wear
Okay.
like a foil suit, and even then, like within 100 feet of it, it would still incinerate you. So you've got to, yeah, it's like thousands of degrees Celsius in real life. We're of course gonna have to suspend sort of disbelief for a part of this. How has Ruby managed to turn herself upside down?
Magic.
Like,
I have no idea.
Mathematics,
I am
obviously.
I'm having problems with my keyboard controls, so I had no idea how I did that, and I'm completely zoomed out. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't move my token right now.
Right, there you go.
Oh, I see. I'm on my side. Okay.
I've turned you on your
I'm
side
at
and
a
you're in a
jaunty
crooked
angle.
spot. Yeah, you're not even in the grid. Because Ruby has to be special and do backflips all the time. Anyway.
Okay.
This is just a normal handstand.
Yeah. Anyway. Oh, there it is. That's why you're on your side, because you tried to do a
low as
backflip.
well. Yeah,
Tried to do a
I rolled a
backflip.
3.
You ended up landing directly on the barrel that's right there and just like got a crick in your back. And that's not helpful for the fact that both you and
I'm 60, yeah?
who is it? It's you and two other people have all aged. I think it's you
Me and Isabel.
Yeah, you and Isabel are like 30 years older, and
Briar-
Briar is like 10 years older or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, that didn't
Um,
cancel after you killed the ghost that did it.
No.
Yeah, I
No, it
forgot about that.
didn't.
We probably should try and prioritize this
It
Yes,
did
as
not
a
perhaps
cancel.
we
try
should
to fix
perhaps we
that.
should go and see a cleric.
well, they're both engaged, otherwise engaged at the moment.
Yes, it did not cancel. No, you are still aged.
Getting back to the elementals, is there a creature that could just deal with heat that I could change into?
I don't know if there are any animals that are, because it has to be a
I mean-
beast that you turn into, and I wouldn't
Iron
think
snail.
that any beasts are immune to fire.
So
Usually
not
it's
a
like-
lizard or anything.
We can look it up. I'm gonna look it up for you, but yeah, I
It has
don't
to-
really
it has to be-
know if there's one.
I'm not really
Very literally
right.
iron snails.
There
The
are, but
immortal snail?
it has to be one that you
Or a
have seen
tardigrade.
before.
Oh,
It's
tardigrade.
for you to be able to wild shape into it. It has to be a beast that you have witnessed yourself before.
Oh, you
oh,
wouldn't have
balls.
witnessed them.
So have
Balls.
you have you ever seen an iron snail? This is the question.
You could be a session and I'll think of a way I saw it in my childhood.
Sure thing. In your books, you've witnessed it in your books.
I think books don't count. Let's
On the
be fair.
internet.
Yeah. Well, honestly, the things that come to mind in the D&D universe are not beasts, but they would most likely be immune to fire. Are things like specific dragons and fiends,
thought you did that.
demons, those kind of things. They would probably be immune to fire.
Scratch that then.
Tiefling?
I
None of us
don't
are
think that
tieflings.
tieflings are necessarily immune to fire. No,
The resistance.
yeah, they might have like they might be able to take less damage from it, but yeah, I mean, do you remember the time that Aldrin was trying to do comprehend languages on that chest that was trying to kill
Yeah.
you, and
Yeah.
everybody healed you over time to allow you to get through it? That's a possible way of getting through this, or you
Mm,
could try and
Well,
find a
I-
way of communicating from a distance. But
Well-
there's alternatives to all of those as
We
well.
could just shout at the door.
Well, if they're friendly, they might have ways to deal with us if they have to. To us, they would have to obviously have to accommodate people visiting if they are friendly.
Oh, I do have control flames, but I don't think lava is a flame.
No.
That's why earthbenders could use lava, not firebenders.
Yeah, it's molten rock. It's not really, not fire really.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. Certainly just melted rock.
All right, fucking paleontologist asshole. But it's in a very roundabout way. It's more than just fire, is what I'm saying.
It's M&S fire.
That's the spirit
It's
of the
fire
point
and
I was
water
trying
at
to
the
make.
same time. If
I'm
I
not-
use control flames and shape water,
I'm
at
not
the
trying to
same
get
time,
into
I
the
control lava.
fucking fluid
Basically
dynamics
really
of
hot
lava here.
custard.
That's just steam.
It's
Oh.
really hot, lumpy custard.
Yeah,
Ew.
Ugh.
yeah, bird's custard. So it's powdered custard made into custard.
Ew.
Not even like egg custard,
Probably allergic to that.
probably. Okay,
Bird's
so
custard powder is a bitch. Anyway, I feel like we've lost our train of thought.
you're looking at the door, staring at it, discussing this loudly outside for a while now, and the door comes open, and a fiery hand grasps it from the other side, and a fiery head just pokes out and goes like,
Can I use comprehend languages?
yes.
Party. Blank.
Beautiful. He just like stares at you.
Hi, sorry. Could you repeat that? Hello.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Can I help you? I'm hearing a lot of speech out here. I don't quite get what you're saying, but I'm curious why you're crowding my baths.
Yeah, sorry about that. We were trying to figure out actually how we could have word with you, without setting ourselves on fire. Um,
Oh,
but
well,
we're...
it's perfectly safe. Just don't step past the threshold.
Oh, okay. Um,
It's
so,
magic. You know, magic. You've heard of it, right?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Here, this might help. He opens up the other door.
Like, because, ooh, lava.
Would it? Would it? I mean, I can maybe speak a little bit of common if that helps.
I mean, I can understand you and I can translate if that's easier for you.
Yes. Okay.
Um, so, we were wondering if you knew anything about the tall rocks with the ruins, outside of town?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They've got some names on them. We're just trying to, uh, learn what we can about them. Or we think they're names. It seems that way.
Do you know what these names are? I don't know of the stones, but if you could tell me what the names are.
Yeah, I do. As me, in reality, I don't remember how to pronounce most of these.
Okay. Zachichu,
Uh,
Kion, Mephit, Patho, Kyria.
okay. Zachichu, Kion, Mafit, Petho, and Curia.
I'm gonna give the fire elemental a history check.
Ew.
They got a 6.
Ow,
My
ow.
memory's a little bit hazy. I'm not sure if I might be able to remember this without looking at it. Is it alright with you if I get out of this place?
Sure. Yeah,
Can
I
I
don't
just...
see a problem with it. Let us back up a little bit.
I was going to say, you're all a bit fleshy. I don't want to melt your skin from your bones.
Yeah, I'm an. Hey guys, I think we need to back away from the door so our friend here can leave their building and go look at the rocks.
Yeah, you're all wonky now as well, by the way. I've made you all wonky.
Oh, I
I
wondered
know.
how that happened.
Yeah, you're all
Oh.
dicking around in the chat talking about how great it is that Ruby's wonky, and Ruby says everyone should go wonk, and I've just made it so. So now you're all wonky. Congratulations.
Yeah.
I'm
Figure it out on your
The
own.
wonky noodle,
Well, now you're
Figure out how to
shouting.
undo it on your own.
wonky dragonborn.
Right, so we're gonna go north of Dreedle again, and bring this fella with us. So let's just get these guys out here, and we've got the fire elemental here.
He turns them all into lava, and we never find out.
Yeah, basically.
You just touch this one. Whoops.
Okay.
Also,
So you're all headed up towards this spot, yeah?
just want to say Aldrin's also relaying back and forth
I'll go with.
Yeah.
what everybody's saying.
So we're everywhere that this is it's not really a corporeal creature. This is like fire made shape. So it doesn't really have footprints, so to speak. But you do see that like this like tornado of fire that like trails behind it as like its tail, if you like, is sort of leaving little wispy lines of melted snow in its wake. It doesn't set fire to any of the buildings. It's able to control itself that much. But it does still melt most of the surrounding area, like that it goes past in like a 2-foot radius. So yeah, you can easily see that there's like a trail of melted snow and water and ice just leaving behind it in its wake. If you guys all go up north with it then, and we end up at the Standing Stones, it will now sort of look at... Oh, fuck's sake, Ruby. It will now look at these Standing Stones and just be like, oh, right, yes. What about these?
We're trying to learn about them. What these names might be, who these might be, what it's about. What are they?
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Well, it's been a while. Um, it. Look, I'm an old creature. I've certainly been around for a long time. I
That's
don't.
why I was hoping you'd know
I
about it.
Yes. Well, I come from a time before names were a thing. We were just there was so few of us. We knew each other by what we were. We didn't need a name. Um, Shortly after that, when names became a thing and worship became a thing, these creatures followed, and well, they were there with us at the start, uh, but we never really considered them gods. But they were there. But then when the fleshies like you came after, they started to worship these, and yes, one of the fleshies actually joined them. This one. He points to the stone with Kyria. Yes, the others there were four of them that were from my era, and then this one came after and joined them, and was worshipped by others as well.
So these four, if they weren't fleshies, what were they?
They
Was
kind
it?
of looked a bit like the fleshies, but they weren't fleshy. Would that make sense? I don't know.
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
You see the image of Keone. Two arms, two legs,
mhm,
looks vaguely humanoid. That's yeah, he's sort of gesturing towards that and saying,
mhm.
"Well, they looked like this, but they weren't fleshy. They were you're fleshy. I guess I don't have a better word for what to describe you as.
Oh.
Mortal, maybe? Although I can't. I can understand
Mortal,
something.
mortal. So, because comprehend languages isn't like speaking in their language as well, it's more comprehending what they're saying. You are, in fact,
Mhm.
speaking to this fire elemental in common. It's just that he can understand what you're saying, but he can't make those words himself back. So he's speaking back to you in his elemental language, which you are
Yeah.
grasping through the use of this spell. Everything that you're saying to him has been common up to this point. So
Okay.
what's it? Isabel has been able to offer that word. You wouldn't have necessarily heard what he was saying, but yeah, you get the gist of the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's basically using the word fleshy interchangeably with the word mortal. So
Okay.
yeah, you're all mortal is what he's saying, and these were
Oh,
not mortal.
mortals. So, do you know? Uh, I believe he's not a mortal or a fleshy, but a guy named Buri
Um.
or Ox.
Oh,
I
that
think he's
name.
going
Yeah.
by Ox now.
Yes, he was much later. He came after all of us. Yes.
Oh. Was he involved with these ones here who are not mortals?
No, there was something happened. I wasn't really interested in any of that. I had my own thing going on. Um, but soon after him and his arrived, these five, uh, disappeared, more or less.
Oh.
I don't look. Gods can die. Mortals can die. Um, I don't think that these five can die. So it's always sort of been there as a thought in the back of my mind. Well, what do you do to something that can't die?
Do they reincarnate?
Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm sort of an amorphous being, you know? So I am changing all the time, even as we speak. But I
Yeah,
have
it's
to
really
ask,
cool.
what is happening to those other non-fleshies? What are these 5? Have they been changed into something too? I don't know. But Ox, Buri, you said that much later, much later.
Okay.
Even after the fleshies were worshipping these 5.
So were you turned into this elemental form from another form?
No, I was here at the beginning.
Oh,
Me and my kin, we were formed at the beginning of all things.
I see. Uh, Aldrin is also relaying this conversation to
Yeah.
you all, so if you have any input.
Yeah, if any of you do have any questions. Because as Aldrin
Ruby
is
would like
translating it
to.
out loud to each of you in real time, then that would then obviously mean that you can all speak common at the fire elemental, and Aldrin will be able to translate what they're saying back.
I don't think it's a question of reincarnation, because reincarnation means you have to die to get reincarnated anyway. So a being who can't die can't be reincarnated.
Yes, yes, good
I
point.
imagine they are trapped or caged, imprisoned somewhere.
Caged, maybe,
That's what I
yes.
would suspect.
Yes. Changed, yes, yeah.
Could it be like a reincarnation where they are trapped in a cycle, but they keep coming back as a different personage or appearance, or I don't know.
Well, I think the fleshy here said it best, that I think you have to die to be reincarnated.
So they haven't died, but just changed.
Maybe they're bound or imprisoned. Yes.
Not sure. I mean, what do you
Maybe
do
these
with something that
stones.
can't die? I would say you either change it, suppress it, brainwash it, or imprison it. Those would be the thoughts that I've come with. I mean, look, I've been around for millennia positing this exact thought to myself, and those are really the only thoughts that I've got at the moment.
You talk about having been here from the start, being around here for millennia.
Yes.
Do you know anything of the one who calls himself friend?
Uh, yes, actually, yes.
They're an interesting one.
Okay.
They're interesting.
Are
What do we
any of
know?
these names to do with them? The friend?
Not sure. Let me see. I don't remember them at the beginning with the rest of us. And I don't remember them being there when Ox and Bury, Bury? So, yes. When Bury arrived. But then, when the
We believe
5
they're older than
disappeared,
Bury, right?
when the 5 disappeared, there were There were other entities that appeared, and a friend was one of them. Maybe one of these 5 became the friend.
Mm. Were any of these 5? Are you aware? Are you aware if any of them were to do with the spirit or the soul, anything like that?
Oh, spirit and soul is many of them, truly.
Were any of them affiliated with or fond of spiders?
No, not particularly. I suppose Kyria, maybe.
What makes you say that?
Well, Kyria was a fleshy who joined the ranks because of the power that she gained as a witch. She liked all kinds of creepy crawlies, like the snakes and the spiders and things. I've never really been one for them myself, because whenever I go near them, they tend to die horrifically. Just because I'm very hot.
That's understandable. But what was the power that Kyria had?
The usual witch stuff, really, Just they sort of magic spells and things. I don't really get myself involved in any of that. My power is more sort of fire based. I like fire, fire likes me. That's kind of my thing.
That's fair.
Is there anything else that this friend
Yeah.
does?
I
We
mean,
talked to you.
they definitely have power of the mind.
They can travel
Most
through
certainly.
dreams.
What was that? Sorry,
Yeah,
Steve?
they affect their dreams, and such.
Oh, dreams.
They speak to us in our dreams, yes, as though they're
Well,
there.
yes. I mean, the mind is so many of these. Patho was sort of to do with. Well, don't get me wrong. They were not, as you might understand, gods to be. They didn't really have domains that they ruled over, but they had their interests, and that's why the fleshies like you worshipped them, because each of them had their own sort of predispositions, if you like. The the one called Patho was just a very charming person. Would make people laugh and smile and could not be disarmed with charms, They were very charming themselves. And so they became worshipped by the first fleshies as being a kind of a goddess of charms and persuasion. But Zachichu was one who liked to make the fleshies' dreams come true. Zachichu was one who was always trying their best to realize what the fleshies wanted in life, and sometimes it came at a cost because, well, having your dreams come true doesn't always make you happy. But this is why you fleshies would carve your dreams on the stone. Because by carving your dreams on the stone and by worshipping Zachichu, you would more than likely have your dream come true. Of course, those days are gone. But dreams and nightmares, really. Zachichu. Zachichu is a person, not a god. So she had good days and bad. And on the bad days, if you carved her the wrong way, if you like, she would give you a nightmare of a time instead of a dream. But for the most part, she was Nice person, I suppose.
You make me think of Olakoi.
Oh, yes. Olakoi was there with us at the beginning.
Was his brother there too?
Yes, yeah, twins.
Mm-hmm. One not so chatty, one kinda chatty.
Yes, yes. He had a kind of a working relationship with Zachichu, if you like. She realized people's dreams in their waking time, and Olakoi punished them for what they did in their sleeping time.
Huh.
Anyway, I'm starting. Look, I'm as old as the universe, but I do still get affected by the cold. I'd very much like to return to my lava if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, sure.
Of course. Would
Thank you
you?
Go
very
ahead.
much
Go ahead.
for helping us out in Tatten.
Oh, yes. Well, look, if you do manage to find any of these 5, I do miss them. It would be nice to have a conversation with them if you send them in my direction.
Certainly.
Do you know how far these rocks go down?
Oh, not much further. He takes, with a swipe of his hand, he's able to clear the remaining rock, and you can see that there's it's like a platform, like a round, flat, platform of stone, that has like, offering altars sort of carved into the ground, but very like early days primordial kind of altars, not like the big things that you would see in a church in modern day. More sort of like divots in the ground to put candles and stuff, and like little pots to put flowers into, but nothing more, you know, standing out than that. Just very basic, but still revered kind of an area. But yeah, he just sort of swipes it away with his hand.
I guess
Yes.
there isn't a giant guy down there. And it's not a hand.
Oh, there's a giant guy in the earth. Do you know him? Yes, he's a good friend of mine. But this isn't him, no.
Yeah? Oh, okay. I was just thinking it looked like a hand sticking up.
Oh, no, no. No, not a hand, no. I see why, though, yes. You fleshies, you have hands, don't you? Yes, yeah. No, this is not that, no. It's, I think from what I understand, the fleshies felt weird about putting a stone next to the others that'd been here for so long. Because when Kyria ascended and joined the others, they felt that it might be disrespectful to the others to put that stone with the rest. So in reference to them, they kind of just kept it off to one side. But I see, yes, it looks like a thumb. Ha! Kyria is a thumb! I'll tell her that when I see her. If you find her, of course, yes. But yes, Zachichu was very much of the dreams and nightmares. Kion liked the cold. This would have been her time. She was like a mother to the others, yes. But very much an equal. Yes. Mephite was sort of lifetime and water and springs and new changes in worlds, and the next season would be her time. The spring, and of course Patho of the charms. But Kyria was a witch, but honestly was very much into healing and snakes and that kind of thing. Really, just was a healer, revered and lofted on high for her power as a healer. Very good healer.
The giant in the earth, is he from your time?
No, he came later. Curiously, he doesn't
Like
have hands.
later?
Yeah, yes, around that time. Yes, doesn't
Oh.
have hands. Lovely person, lovely guy. No hands. Big fella. Not seen him in a long time though. Anyway, if you don't mind, my fire wisps are sort of starting to chill up, and I'd rather get a bit warm again, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. Have a lovely time.
Even though I don't really fully understand common, your friend here that's a good one. I've only heard that one about 36, 37 times. But yes, still very good. One of the more original jokes that I've heard in my time. Anyway, respect to you all. Don't melt. Bye.
Bye.
And he
Take
sort
care.
of wisps his way over in a flamey tornado.
Odd fellow. So I guess that clears up almost nothing.
Well, at least we know it's not a body on a statue under the ground. There's an altar.
Yes, I
And these
suppose
were
there is
gods.
that. Yeah, we needn't dig any further, at least.
But wouldn't that mean that these were the gods before Ox was a god?
Or perhaps they're the
Ox
same
is
gods.
Isn't Ox only playing a god?
Well,
In a
you
sense.
remember
Aren't all
you
the
remember
gods?
from Ox like telling everybody like the mythology of God of Ox as a god is the fact that there was a giant cow that birthed the world and birthed Ox, and then Ox birthed the rest of the gods. That's the kind of mythology that's been spreading, and everybody is just accepted as fact. And that's why the gods are seen as gods. But you're not wrong. They need Ambrosia to stay immortal. So it's not like they are immortal. They are fleshy, as our friend would describe.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's just some like lies, some propaganda put around. Maybe they've just done a smear campaign.
Yes.
Maybe they've tried to cover up these primordial gods, but it's what you make of it and where you want to go with the investigation.
So, in theory, there's
While you're talking, I'm gonna get a drink.
a goddess of wishes and that here, right? And dreams.
Mm-hmm.
What if a demigod wished for the end of the world or a new world?
Suppose that could be a thing.
I mean, he did. I can't remember if I'm remembering this or some other story, but didn't he wish to world to be remade?
Oh, sorry. I'm
Ox.
trying to. Ox.
I think you might be right.
I mean, I unfortunately read a lot of stories that do that sort of thing, but I think Ox was one of them.
Okay.
I'm back, by the way.
That's
Okay.
okay. Yep.
I mean, I don't think we'll get to the bottom of it without.
No. So
Some
why don't we
more
just
research.
store this information in the back of our heads and go to Iron Front?
Okay.
Is there a library in Ironfront?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good. I need to change my book.
Perhaps we can look into it in Ironfront. There's a
I think with
rather
all the
large
earthquakes
library
and
there.
given that Ragnarok has started, I don't think that you'll be charged any late fees, Isabel. I think they've probably got other things on their minds.
Yes. And hopefully the library's still there.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
I will burn the world to ashes if it's destroyed.
I'll help.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we're going to Ironfront then?
Yes, via having a closer look at footprints, I suppose.
Yeah.
The
See what
footprints in
might
the
have
snow
Yes.
from before. Okay, cool. So you head back over towards the south side of this city. They sort of disappeared the moment that you got to the edge of this map to the next one. So we'll just quickly activate that map. God, I forgot you're all wonky. Okay, so let me just drag you all over that way. There you go. You'll have a tour through these buildings as you get dragged. Um, so it was basically around here, sort of here, sort of at where this alleyway begins, that the footprints just stopped. And you can see that they are the same footprints that trailed from that alleyway that you were at before.
Yes. Okay.
What kind of check do you want to be doing at this point?
I think I want to see maybe if I can figure out like how the footprints have stopped. Like, have they scaled up the side of a building, or do I suspect that they have used some form of magic?
Okay.
Like, I've seen portals and stuff, haven't I? So I
Yeah,
guess
well,
that
you've been through
could be a
them.
thing.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely know
Yeah.
that they exist, yeah.
So yeah, I very much doubt there'd be like residual magic that I'd be able to see with my not human eyes, but my human eyes.
Yeah. Well, your humanoid eyes, I guess, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we've got, I'm sure that we've got someone in the party who does have detect magic. Let me just see if Briar's got it loaded. Any detect magic. We've got Fairy Fire. That's the closest thing to detect magic that Briar's got loaded at the moment. So no, you don't really have anybody here that can do it unless Aldrin's got detect magic.
I don't think so.
Good. Then just give me a flat investigation check, I guess.
Cool.
Hang on, I think I've been a complete Dumbo. I have detect magic.
Investigate.
Oh!
I'll investigate anyway because I need to do that probably still.
Never
A
mind.
dirty 20. Okay, then, so Ruby's gonna
Nice.
go and use some detect magic, are you?
Yeah. I'm
like,
You do
struggling
have
to
it.
move, so just move me wherever I need to be.
You
like
do
the two
have it.
together will probably be helpful. Yeah.
All right. So, you use this aura, this sense of magic in a space 30 feet away from you. I think that with your dirty 20, Victor, you're able to sort of get this to work in the way that you need it to. You're sort of pressing the limits of this spell, but your sort of mathematician brain kicks in, and you're sort of like, okay, so we know that this works within a radius. So if we move in and out of the zone that you can feel magic, which Ruby does feel, then you can pinpoint the location of it just based on proximity. Like when you start to feel it, then we move away again and find a different angle, start to feel it again, and then we can figure out exactly which point on the ground that you might expect to see this part of magic being, because it's not like one of the other spells that actually gives you a pinpointed spot, and it also doesn't like highlight anything for you. It's still just a sense of magic. But you do get a sense of magic, and you do get a sense of magic at this point in particular. And it
Okay.
is sort of like I need to look up exactly what kind of magic this is going to be. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's
Yes, it would be conjuration magic. So the school of magic is conjuration magic, and you can tell that it is basically it's centered around this gate into the sideway like alley between this building and the next. And it's like right at the point that the feet stop. So you get a sense that there's some level of magic involved here, and that potentially this might be some kind of a gateway somewhere else. You remember that there were etchings further north around the mine that led you to a different location as well, and that there's a potential here that this might lead somewhere else too.
Oh. Okay. And it's, I get, we think that it might still be active if we go through, I suppose. One way to find out.
I'll let you make that decision yourself.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna turn around and kind of look at everybody and like half shrug. Be like, I think maybe we should try if we're going in that direction anyway. This might take us exactly where we need to go.
All right.
All right.
Let's try it.
Yes,
Let's
are you
risk
sure?
it.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Risk it for a
Okay.
biscuit.
Feel like we have nothing to lose.
You're all good friends. I appreciate you. And I turn around and walk straight through.
Okay.
I'll go first in case we all die. Even though you wouldn't know, I might just
Yeah.
disappear and die.
So sort of as you step through this gateway into this alleyway, what is the first thing that you're looking for as you step into the alleyway?
The first thing I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm thinking of the um of the gingerbread house that we went
Okay.
to. I think so. I'm gonna
So
be instantly like looking for that, I suppose.
cool. Give me a perception check. 22. So you step beyond and into this. You step beyond and step into this alleyway. And as you do, you don't see any kind of gingerbread house. No. But it's so weird. It feels like there is something here that you're not seeing because you're so focused on that gingerbread house. You know, like when you're like when you're looking for something and you're looking directly at it, but there's just some part of your brain that won't click that you've seen the thing that you're actually looking for. That's like that kind of uncanniness that you're experiencing right now. That there's something here that you're just not quite getting because you're so focused on that thing.
Okay. I wait a second to see. Have I teleported somewhere essentially, or am I still in the alleyway?
As far as you can tell, you're still in the alleyway.
Oh, I turn around and I'm like, that's a little embarrassing.
There's nobody behind you.
Oh. Does it still look like the same town?
Yeah. Everybody else, however, in the party have noticed that Victor has disappeared.
Victor? Can you hear us?
Poofed.
Victor, you can hear them. It's like an echo on the wind. You can't really hear them very clearly, but you can definitely hear something.
I will step back towards the gate, and I think thinking of my friends.
Yeah, you step back
Like, 'cause I'm
through
trying
and
to
you
find
see
them now.
everybody reappear. And you see the footsteps in the ground as well.
What?
Oh, that was odd.
That was cool, dude.
Do it again.
Yes, I
Where'd
didn't
you
go
go?
where I expected to go. I basically went here, but another version of here. I could hear your voices, but um, you weren't there, and I'm assuming by your surprise that I wasn't here.
Yeah, you'd gone, dude. You'd gone.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
full disappeared.
Okay. Then perhaps let me try again.
Okay.
I don't think it's dangerous if you want to step through, but I'm unsure
Alright,
we'll
follow.
go to the same place. Does somebody want to come with me?
Oh, I didn't mean to go in. I didn't mean to go in.
Ah! Ah!
Get me
Ah!
out!
Ah!
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So
Sorry,
tell me
Victor.
how you're going through together.
Okay.
I just follow his exact footsteps.
I grab your hand as you go in, so we don't get
Okay.
separated.
Okay. So you step through, and both of you end up in this other alleyway. You notice that the other four of you in the party, that's including Ash and Briar here, but obviously Aldrin and Ruby, the two at the table. You notice that Isabel has disappeared with Victor.
We can see each other, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Can you still hear us?
I think I can.
You can't, Aldrin and Ruby, you can't hear Isabel reply to you.
Can I scream it?
Can't hear her.
Huh?
Hold on. Can I
That's
pick up?
weird.
Can I pick up a
Sure.
rock? Is there a rock on the ground I could just throw back?
There's a rock, yeah. Pick the rock.
I just pick up a rock and throw it back through where I came.
It lands in front of you.
In front of me.
Oh, look, a
Yeah.
pebble.
No, Aldrin and Ruby, you don't see it.
I just froze. Okay.
I
Should
guess
we,
they're just chilling there.
should we go back through and get them?
Can I stick
Yeah,
my
we should
hand back through?
stay together.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
hand does appear in sort of liminal space directly in front
I-
of Ruby and Aldrin.
I
That's
just
it.
try and hold my hand out as if to say, "Come on."
Oh, okay. Guess we're going.
All right then.
Are you pulling your hand back through now, Isabel?
Yeah. I'll see if they come through on their own.
Okay. So
Aldrin's gonna grab Isabel's hand and then
Okay.
go
Ah.
through.
so Aldrin grabs Isabel's hand and goes through. Ruby, what are you doing?
Aldrin will also reach back towards Ruby and the others.
Yeah, Ruby was following through. I am not going to touch my token because I will spin in. I will turn. This is me trying to move.
Okay.
I'm having a mare.
So then we'll just say that everybody changes hands and walks through together.
Okie dokie.
Because the others are just gonna, they're still worshipping the nature and the creatures around them, so they're not really focused. They just notice enough to be able to say, "Oh, we're all holding hands and walking. Okay, we can do that." So they take Ruby's hand as well and take each other's hand, and they all walk through, and you all end up in this other place. Whoever wants to can give me whatever checks you want to give me, but just tell me what it is that you're trying to figure out as you do your checks. Don't just roll, but tell me specifically what it is that you're trying to garner about this place.
I want to listen if there's anything outside of us
Okay.
around. So that'd be my. I'm not wasting a transformation. Never mind.
No. That's totally fine.
Would it be investigation or perception to see if there's a person here aside from us?
A person here aside from you. I mean, that could be either of them. It really depends on like how it is that you're going about it. Perception would be like looking and using your senses to find it. Investigation would be like trying to look at like tracks and imprints in the ground to find it.
That's
So it
what
really
I
depends
wanted
on
to
how
do.
you
I
do
wanted
it.
to see if the footprints continue this side of the portal that aren't ours.
And immediately before you even roll, Victor, that is what it starts to twig at this point. You were so focused on looking for some kind of a gingerbread house and expecting a different world to be upon you, that now that you're actually looking, you can see that the footprints have continued beyond here now. That was the thing that you now realized. Oh, God, yeah. Now I get it. I was so focused on that other world that I forgot to follow the footprints. And the footprints have trailed off now. New ones that were not there in front of you before. Going down the alleyway. Just to be clear.
And feel free to check other stuff. Still, obviously.
Isabel trying to find if there's like listen for other things. It sounds like just it's just a windy day, I guess. It's not really much more that you get with a 6. Anyone else doing any other checks? A 9 investigation. Your investigations don't really come up very strongly with one answer or another. You're sort of struggling to come to an answer on one side of the coin or another. I think that you're sort of... It's not so low that you're convinced of something poor.
Lead.
Yeah, your investigation check isn't so low that you're convinced of something untrue, but it's not so high that you actually get any information. So it just kind of feels like you tried and you didn't succeed, but at least you're not convinced of something completely wrong.
Yeah, I think Gouda's just gonna follow Victor's lead on this one.
Yeah. Is this Ruby's Detect Magic template, by the way?
Yeah, I think I was a Dumbo. I hadn't realised I hadn't clicked it. I'm really not having great times with Foundry today. I'm
Yeah, no, you're
losing
all good.
I don't know
You're all
what's
good.
going on.
I tend to keep an eye on what distances people are from things anyway, just as a matter of point. So I tend to just remove the template the moment you put it down. But if it helps you to sort of visualize those things, then we can have it there for a moment, sure. But yeah, that sort of aura of detecting magic. Yes, you do notice that there is a magic about this doorway in particular. But it's the same as what you felt from the other side of it. It seems like there's something to do with this gateway that's similar to the portal that you went through so long ago now when you entered the 4 points.
Okay.
I'm going to say that Ash and Briar are too involved in their worship to be able to do any checks at this point. So, Ruby, I think you're the only person who hasn't actually done a check since you've come on the other side of the doorway. Is there anything that you want to do in particular, and what are you looking for?
I was trying to justify a particular check in my head, and I can't justify a reason to do an investigation or a perception check different to the others, really. For what Ruby would specifically be looking for.
They've done them but failed, so...
True. Alright. Maybe I can justify a perception check. And Ruby's, she's clocked about the gateway, the barrier, doorway, magic side of things, but maybe trying to get a better grasp on where they are. Obviously not just a different version of Dreidel, but what that version is. Because, Ruby's been to the Friends realm. I feel like she's trying to cotton on to the different way things are interacting in this universe.
Cool.
So that's what she's looking for with a perception check.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's a perception check that you'd be using for that.
Investigation?
We'll go with... Well, you can either do an investigation or you can do a perception and another check.
Okay. What would you as DM prefer? Because I don't want to metagame it with my stats in front of me.
Well, I don't think that you can really perceive what the nature of a realm is. That's like your senses.
Cool.
So I think that it would probably be some kind of intelligence-based check, personally, to like look into the history of things and see if you can pluck something from one of those facets of your history.
Could it be a history check?
Probably, yeah.
Or yeah. Yeah, I didn't want to meta because I have +4 on perception. So
no, you're all good. Well, you can
I
still
don't
do a
be a
perception
pain.
if you want. So you can
no, it's fine. I rolled a 15. That's all right.
Okay.
That's all right.
So yeah, with the 15 history check, yes, you do get a sense that this is not the realm you just were in. It's definitely a mirror of the same realm, but it's certainly different. There's something about it that just... You can't put your finger on what it is. It's not something sensory. It's like something in the air. It's like something in your bones. It feels different, but you can't quite tell why. And there's not really anything in your history that you could put your finger on with a 15, but it's enough there just to tell you there's something that I'm not remembering, but there's definitely something different about this place than where we just were. This is not the material plane, this is a different plane of existence. And I couldn't tell you why. That's the kind of feeling that you're getting.
Okay, cool. I will share that with the group.
Cool. Sort of on a general tone, each of you, as I'll describe this for you all now, it's kind of like if you anybody who is familiar with art or film or drawing digitally, you'll be aware of the term saturation, which is basically just how
Oh, yeah.
how vibrant a color is or how grey a color is.
Yeah.
It's like the saturation has been turned most of the way down as you walk through here. So everything, even the clothes that you're wearing, even the frogs that Aldrin, you're so used to being vibrant green and all these other wild and wonderful colors, and Ruby with your, although you're aged now, so some of your fur is already grey. The patches that were yellow and orange are
Wow.
also now. I know.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Get over it. Other patches that were orange and yellow are also now in a grey. And you notice that Ash's plumage is no longer this vibrant turquoise and emerald color. It's also going grey. So there's something here where it seems like everything here is sort of like a not quite darker, but like dimmer, like a less of a vibrance to things.
Is this reminiscent of the underworld that Aldrin saw?
No,
Oh.
Mhm.
No.
no.
Okay.
That didn't feel. You remember seeing the guy down below who was walking around offering people deals? You could see the
Yeah.
color of his clothing. You remember seeing like the
Right,
colors of like the holy man. You remember seeing
Right,
like the
it
colors
was
of Olakoi
darkness
as he was
there.
there with you. It was dark, but there was still color. This is different.
Yeah.
This is not
Okay.
dark, but there is no color. It's like the opposite. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's like a removal of color, if you like, but everything's still just as bright. You do get echoes on the wind and whispers sort of drifting to you of the sounds of Dreidel from the other side. And it's not just from the gate, it's all around you. It feels like it's coming from everywhere, like it's coming from the fabric of this place itself. There's not just that, it's the whispers of other things, like echoes through time. It feels like the hustle and bustle of Dreidel before now, where Dreidel wasn't so much a wasteland where people have abandoned. It was still a thriving place with even the sound of children, which you know is completely alien to its current history. There's so much different about this place that's starting to dawn on you as you start to open your eyes and look around. Really, that like you're really only experiencing this place from a single alleyway's perspective, and yet still it feels so much different to everything that you've experienced in the material plane. And now that this is starting to come to you all, I think Ruby, you're starting to realize what there is different about this, and what that history check would have sort of pointed you towards. That there is a depth to this place. That it's a depth in the midst of like the pit, not only of material but also of time. And there's also like a darkness to this place of the lack of color, the lack of vibrance and of hue and texture and life. And you understand now that this is what the people of this realm might call the deep dark.
Oh.
What do people know of the deep dark, if anything? Have you read anything about that, Isabel?
Can I do a history check?
Yeah, you can do a history check.
What is on
Not
my
a
rolls
lot.
today?
Not a lot. You've not read a lot about it.
I have not got
Can
any.
Ruby do a history check on the deep dark?
You can do another history check, yes. I will say that you can do it with advantage since you'd already succeeded on the last check.
Top.
A 12. And a 13 from Victor. I would say that the two of you, knowing what the Deep Dark is, you would get the idea that, yes, the Deep Dark is another realm, more than it being like a depth. You know, like in traditional D&D lore, the Deep Dark is not a different plane of existence with its own sort
it's
of
just
mirror of everything.
underneath.
Exactly. It's like a tunnel system beneath the world. This is not that. I'm taking the name and putting something in my mind more interesting into it. So Aldrin, you can see that with your 21 history check. Yes, you have heard of the term Deep Dark. You've experienced people discussing it, but you've never really truly understood what it meant until you got here. And now everything that you've heard before starts to make sense in context. That this is a place that people use to move silently between places without being detected. And there's only so many people who are able to use that. More often than not, it is rogues who tend to use this kind of an area, or those people who are marginalized in society. Those people who are the forgotten people, the overlooked. And this is where you've heard it before because of your draconic bloodline. You've heard it from people of that heritage. That people talk about going and spending some time in the Deep Dark to get away from people so that they're not being persecuted for being dragons or with the bloodline of dragons. So this is kind of it's almost like a safe haven, but it's definitely not safe and it's definitely not haven. This is the kind of place that you go to when you have nothing left but this. It's not the kind of place that you want to spend a lot of time in, because if the material plane is dangerous, you can only imagine how much more dangerous this place must be for people to only come here when they have nothing left to lose.
We don't want to stay here long, guys.
And perhaps we should follow the prince and get on with it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay.
As you follow these footprints south, you go down behind this building, and you're starting to see a different kind of a texture to the ground. It's not so much this cobblestone that's been arranged in a lovely pattern. It's now more of a like broken stones and even like a thick stone-like shape, but it's quite curved and much bigger than the stones that are in the ground. And as you keep walking, you notice that there's more of them and more of them, and eventually you get to realize these look like dragon scales or the shells of eggs. So there's a potential that there's quite a like a community of dragons back here.
Cool.
Ooh.
Dragon.
Maybe we should be extra careful not to draw attention to ourselves.
Aldrin
Do we?
adjusts her hat and nods.
Oh yeah, you got hacked.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Give me a dexterity check to see whether, as you adjust it, you knock it off accidentally. I want to see if we change to a different hat.
My hat.
Give me a dexterity check.
Dex check.
Get a 10 or more, and you
can't.
get to get a 10 or more, or the hat falls and you end up with a different hat.
Oh no.
Okay, you just about managed to. It like nearly gets knocked off your head. Like you have that clumsy moment where you reach your hat up and you miss the brim and accidentally hit it with the tips of your fingers, but you just managed to grab it in time. And yeah, you stay with this wizard's hat. It doesn't fall off. You could have had any number of different types of hats, but the hat stays. Okay, so are you all walking down this alleyway, just so that I'm sure? Because we've only got one person who's moved so far. Okay. And I know that Ruby's having trouble with theirs, and Ash and Briar aren't here. So just so that I'm clear, who's moving where?
I think I'm gonna like take the lead and go kind of 10 to 20 feet further forwards, just to check.
I love seeing Ruby rotate as he tried to drag.
Yeah, so I'll go
You're going
I'll
to
go
take the
ahead.
lead, but everybody else is coming up.
Yeah, I'm checking for like to make sure that the footing's like good and that there's nothing
Okay.
ahead
Yeah.
that's dangerous or a trap or anything like that. Basically, like I'm not
Yeah.
checking for traps, but I'm making sure that like there's no unexpected things
Mm-hmm.
as we go, so it's safe for everybody to kind of follow my lead because it's they're doing this for me.
As you're sort of like looking around for traps, you can see that there are a lot of disarmed traps. Like it's uncanny how many traps there have been in this 30-foot walk, just from one end of the alleyway to the next. That there's like old traps that have been left here, new traps that have been set up and then disarmed again. It's like it gives you a sense of something other than danger. It's almost like someone practicing. Like someone's been here and set up a trap and then tried to disarm it themselves. And then done it again and then done it again and refined it over and over again. Like someone's desperately trying to get... And it makes sense to you because if this is a realm for rogues, then this is a realm where people would spend time away from the real world to hone their craft and sort of learn different ways about doing things.
Okay. I'll just turn around. Please, everybody, tread carefully. I think most of these traps are disarmed, but you can never be too sure.
Good to know.
Yeah, and I'll kind of continue following, I suppose, whichever way the footprints go.
They go sort of east out of this alleyway.
Okay.
Give me perception checks to see if you can find any of these traps in the alleyway.
Perception. Okay.
Okay. You don't notice any traps in the alleyway.
Okay. I think it's safe if you want to keep going. I will stay ahead of them. Like I'm not waiting necessarily for them. As I find clear footsteps, so I will be ahead of them at all times by a little way.
Victor, what's your AC again?
Oh no.
Where are we? 15. Okay. So, unfortunately, you weren't able to spot one of the traps in this alleyway, and the trap that you have sprung is hidden among the snow. It feels to you like it is some kind of it's like a tripwire, but hidden below the snow level, so that even someone looking for it would find it hard to spot. And the DC for it was 15, and you got a 12, unfortunately. So as you step on this trap, it does trigger, and you feel a sharp, like jagged piece of wood stab you right in the calf on the side. And I'm going to roll now to see what the damage will be. We're at this level, we are rolling a 4d10 to see what the damage of piercing is going to be. And lucky for you, each of these rolled very low. You take 8 damage. I would also remind everybody, don't forget you've got hero tokens, so that if you fail a check, you can spend your hero tokens to automatically succeed on them.
Oh, the inspiration.
Yeah.
Thing.
So it's not like advantage on a roll, you just get the automatic success without a crit. And it's once per session, and if you only get them if you can tell me at the start of the session something about the last ones, something about
And
what
we
brought
gotta
us to
claim
this
it
point.
ahead of time, right?
Yes, you do have to tell me beforehand. Yeah. So before,
Okay.
like, if you fail on a check, then I'll tell you failed. You rolled such and such. If you feel uneasy about it, then you can then tell me I'm going to spend a hero token so that I can succeed this before I narrate what's happened. So if I now tell you you failed the check, too late. You already, it's already gone past. But if you see the number and you're like, oh, that's a 12. I'm not so sure about this. I'm gonna spend the hero token anyway. Then that works as well.
Okie dokie, cool.
So yeah, we'll feel it out. It's a new thing that I'm trying to bring into it to try and encourage more sort of, memory of what's come before. And it doesn't have to be anything particularly specific. You can just tell me about, the basic ideas of the campaign, but it all helps to keep everyone's minds sharp. Because I know that there are some of us who have got sharper memories than others. And personally, I struggle even though it's my fucking world. Right, I'm going to move Ruby down and I'm going to move Ash and Bri down as well. The cat is struggling and the other two are praying. So, yeah, the others of you, the 5 of you all see that Victor gets this jagged piece of sharp wood, like, spring up from out of the snow and stab straight into the left calf from against this building. And Victor, you feel this like, grabbing you in place and you're, like, it's stuck there and you can't quite move forward without pulling it out again.
Yeah, I want to disarm it, basically, so it doesn't get anybody else, so I'm gonna...
you can tell that it's already
and
sort of
not
sprung itself.
frustratedly, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that it's already, like, sort of sprung itself. It feels like it was a one and done thing, but you're able to disarm it now that you've been able to do that. But you are now aware that, yes, there are going to be, probably a bunch of traps around. Just at least in this location alone, simply because the person was practicing, and they've probably left a bunch of their stuff around.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do from here?
You okay, Victor?
Yes, I'm fine.
It's almost like we could use a cleric right now.
I wasn't paying enough attention.
Briar,
I'll be
like,
more careful.
looks her head up and is like, huh? What? Oh, yeah. Let me do something. Let's see what they've got.
Ruby, you're meant to be babysitting. I'm not doing cartwheels.
I'm very sorry. Maybe I'm just very dexterous at avoiding traps and just cartwheeling my way.
Trying to find which ones that got. Yes. Yeah, Cure Wounds is probably the best one. It's a higher heal than a Healing Word would be. So we'll use that. And you get 5 HP. So you're not completely back at full, but you've got some from Briar walking up and touching you and doing the Cure Wounds. And then returns back to
shoulder and say
Ash.
thank you. Just smile.
And you are free of the trap. You're able to move forwards.
And I will be extra carefully investigating going forward, rather than a cursory glance for traps. Because I think Victor's annoyed with himself.
I'll say that you get advantage on your checks, because I think that the others have probably been scared into it and just like helping you look around for these things. But yeah, you can give me a perception check if you wish, with advantage.
Oh, sorry.
27. That's an investigation check, but we'll still take it.
You sure?
Yeah. That's
the wrong
fine.
one, sorry.
With the investigation above the perception, you actually spot something else here. You notice that there is... It's alright, and it's kind of helped you out, if anything. You notice that, yes, there are traps, and you're able to disarm them. But what you see through your investigative skill is the fact that they have Thieves' Camp written next to them. This one did as well. You just didn't quite spot it immediately because it's sort of hidden in amongst the curves and loops and whirls, if you like, of the grain of the wood.
And eggshells.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say in like the grain of the wood of the building, but you can see that there's like Thieves' Camp written here, and it's next to all of the traps. So as you like walk along, you can see like, it's kind of like tags of people's names being like such and such was here, You know, that kind of thing from like when you're a kid in school and you'd like scratch your name into a desk. It's that kind of like immature kind of a level of like, oh, such and such did this one. Oh, this one's my work. And just like different rogues being very proud of the traps that they've laid. And with that 27, you are 100% certain that one of these says Arelli.
Cool. I thought so. I think we're on the right track. Just please be careful, everybody.
Also, everybody else, as you're all sort of worried about the traps that might come ahead, you see that this sort of jagged spear goes into the side of Victor's calf, and as he pulls it out, and then starts completely, like, deftly disarming everything else in the alleyway that you've never seen Victor act like this before. Like, you've seen Victor looking for traps, you've never seen what happens when he actually finds one. And I think that you're all probably very impressed by the way that he's able to like deftly and with such a sleight of hand able to just pull these things apart without any real difficulty. This is a level of skill that you've not really seen from Victor. Yeah, and it's all 100% driven by the embarrassment. I don't know whether anybody would be looking for an insight check on this, but I think that it's probably difficult to tell from behind. So if you are gonna do an insight check, it would be at disadvantage.
I'll give it a shot.
Wow,
Finally,
even with disadvantage, you get a good roll. Yeah, I think, Isabel, you sort of feel the empathy here of, like, I would be embarrassed in this situation too. So I can feel what Victor must be feeling.
I mean, it's like if I missed an axe swing and a very obvious target, I would be very embarrassed.
Right, exactly. Or if Ruby punched a rock and it didn't break, you know? Yeah.
He's also kind of excited.
Shit never
that
happens.
He's on the right track, I think, with you kind of paying attention. Like, he seemed a little giddy, but at the same time, he was like a little embarrassed.
Yeah.
And is just like kind of having fun at the same time.
Yeah. Totally fair.
I think,
I mean,
like
it's
he
not
has
every
a
day
bit
that
of
you
a smile
find
on his face.
It's not every day that you find, well, for one, your childhood friend, and two, just a fucking alleyway filled with traps for you to disarm. And you know, going into a different realm altogether just by a cursory investigation. I'd say that this is a pretty good step in the right direction for all of you.
Yeah, and like all of this big magic nonsense that's been happening to everybody, it's finally like he can do something like with his hands that he knows he's good at.
Yeah.
Whereas he feels sometimes with all the big kind of magic stuff a little bit helpless.
Yeah. This is definitely Victor's time to shine. You have absolutely like destroyed this alleyway for worth of traps, and you've managed to spot a bunch of names here written in the thieves' can, one of which is definitely Arelli. So you know that Arelli is around, and you can also tell that this is like a recently scratched in name.
Okay, he gets up and like dusts his hands off and puts his glasses back in his pocket.
Yeah.
He's like, right, I think we can move on now.
The rest of you just see like wires and strings and darts and poisons and splash potions everywhere, just littered around the place, and it's just sort of like it looks like it's just like a fantasy hardware store has been completely like emptied out in this alleyway. All the snow's been dusted away. All of these like the paraphernalia of trap disposal completely ruined everywhere, and it's pretty impressive to see Victor as he puts his glasses away and is just sort of like, okay, now that's dealt with.
Okay, I guess we keep moving
Do that.
as carefully as possible.
So, now
Yes.
that you know that the coast is clear, as far as traps are concerned, what is your next step? Are you going to exit the alleyway?
Yes.
Good question, I think.
Yes, question?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Question
Yes.
mark?
All right.
Yes,
So
I'll do
Victor's
that.
going out first. Okay. You look around, and at first it doesn't seem unusual. You see a city. You see the same things as were here in the other side. You see that there are crates, there are lights. The lights don't really light up the area all that much, but then it doesn't really feel like it is a particularly dark place, which is unusual given the name. But it is still grey. There's still a lot of like reduced saturation around you. Everything seems different at the very least. And as you walk on, you do see that there are, in fact, other people around you. Many of them are hooded. Many of them are stood in pairs. Some are just stood by themselves in dark corners, sharpening their blades. Nobody really pays that much attention to you as you walk out. But you do see a number of people around here. Is there anything in particular that you are looking for at this point?
Suppose an indication of like where to go, I suppose? Where we should be heading? Like, would we just continue the way we would have gone in the normal world? You know what I mean?
A good question.
I wonder what it's like over by the lava building.
Yes, perhaps we should see if the same people are in town that are in the other
Maybe we'll see
version of
other
the town.
elementals even.
Or the rocks where the rocks were.
Oh, or the rocks. Uh,
Yes, maybe
which
we
way do
go
we
and
want to
knock.
go?
Which way do you want to head?
Perhaps we should go and check out Rumpelstiltskin's place. Make sure he's not fucking hiding here.
Wouldn't that be a thing?
We can go and try
Couldn't
and
hurt, right?
find Rumpelstiltskin and deal with your slight vendetta, I feel.
Is that where we're headed?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like one of the more familiar places in town, I think.
Well, it's the closest place as well, isn't it?
I think so. Can't
Oh,
remember
so
which
yeah.
building it is.
Well, it is. It is definitely in town. It's one of the places around. It's really up to you what kind of thing you are going here to do. But if you give me a moment, I can sort of put people around town that are going to be. Just because there's going to be a bunch of. Yeah. So everything ready for you. I wasn't expecting you to get this far this fast. Uh, uh, uh,
Sometimes we have our shit together.
Sometimes you really do. And you really did hit some very interesting points today, so I felt I had to reward every part of it. Because without that, it's like, what's the point in us doing all this interesting shit in the first place? But yes, I have been sort of trying to get this all ready for you ahead of time. Sometimes you really do hit the nail on the head with these. Okay. So, I would say that that is ready for you. So, as we get into this northern part of town again, you can see that again, everything here is very much sort of drab and dreary, but you can see that some of the doors are now open, which were not open in the other places. So it's like you can interact with this place in a different way than you can in the other material plane. What the consequences of that are, you don't know, because you don't really remember there being that many traps around in the material plane. Nor do you remember there being a lot of thieves' cant carved up, or dragon eggs. It's almost like the other plane, the material plane, is like the flat basis of this one, and then everything here is just laid on top. So, As you walk past this building, for instance, you can see with the doors open that this is completely filled with cobwebs and just huge broken open spider eggs, skeletons from where these spiders have eaten.
Oh,
You don't see the spiders, but then I think that that's part of their defense mechanism. So whether that is something you would see or not, I don't know. What you do see as you look down the street, though, you see more and more rogues. You see that there are, well, at least hooded figures. You also see that there are dragonborns here who are like red, greens, blues, all kinds of different colors of dragon. You see that there are other people that you might suspect of being draconic bloodlines because they look vaguely humanoid, but they also have like scales or horns coming through or claws themselves. And the eggs start to make sense. Also, the lack of dragons in the world also starts to make sense. That if they are so badly persecuted and so many of them need to go to these places like the support group that you went to, Aldrin, then now it makes it really does sort of paint a picture to you that because so many adventurers or heroes, as they're so called, think that it is so important to earn your badge of honor to go and kill a dragon that of course these fucking dragons don't want to be the footnote of some quote unquote hero's masterpiece. Do you know what I mean? Like this is not something that you would want to be written in your epitaph. This is you want to be able to live your life. You're not some monster on a hilltop. You're Aldrin. You know, so what the fuck? So this is why a lot of people have come here, because it's just so much easier to hide away from the world. But is hiding better? Who's to say? What you do know is that you see a lot of them here. And you also see at the very end of the street here that there is Rumpelstiltskin's shop. It's up to you what you want to do from here.
Aldrin kind of wants to go talk to dragon people.
Cool. So we've probably got 5 minutes left, if that, of the rest of this session. So this is going to be sort of set up for next session. But if you tell me what you want to do, then if it's quick, then we can get through it now. Otherwise, it will be something that we hammer through next time. Anything quick that people want to do now before we get onto the meat of it next time?
Sure. Do I recognize any? I want to have a look around to see if I recognize anybody. Basically, would be kind of where
are you going when you're looking around?
I think
staying still where you are, or wandering through this town.
I think slowly walking towards Rumpelstiltskin's shop.
Okay.
Maybe. Just down the street, like not like rushing towards anybody, but I'm trying to look like not scared, if that makes sense. Not like I'm trying to fit in, because we all don't. These people, I assume, would know that we're not from here. So, but I'm trying not to look like I'm here to do anything like bad or stupid. You know what I mean? Just sounds calmly.
Yeah. I understand this train of thought, but it also sounds to me, as you're trying to describe it, that Victor is probably too much in his own head and is probably making a bad job of this, just based on how anxious you are to not be noticed. So give me a performance check and a stealth check. You could do your stealth check with the usual advantage that you normally would.
Okay.
Performance of 5. Let's see how unnoticed this poor performance is. 27. Okay. So your party, who can definitely see you trying to put on this sort of facade of being a rogue who belongs here, but completely making a hash of it. But thankfully, you're so unnoticed because you're that stealthy that nobody around you notices anyway. So you're able to walk through this town looking like a complete goober, but not being seen. So that's pretty good as a compromise, I guess.
He pulled a Jack Sparrow.
Pulled a Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
So you walk through the town. I will give you 2 perception checks. One for when you hit this crossroads, and one for when you hit the next crossroads.
Okay. I guess
As
as
you
it's
get
the end
to
of the session, I might as well take. Oh, okay.
a
That
24 for
one,
the first one.
and then I'll just use my hero token to have a success on the second one, I suppose.
Okay. And the rest of the
As it's
party,
the end
what
of the
are
session.
you guys gonna do? It's obviously take it as a hint as well that if you've not used your hero token yet, you will lose it before next time. They're not the kind of thing that you only get one time ever. It's once per session. So if you're going to use it and you've not used it yet, might be a good time to do that. Without meaning to metagame anything.
The group of dragons who are meeting up are in this building, yeah?
They're all down the streets everywhere. They're like dotted
up
around on
and
their
down the
own.
streets, just
Yeah,
everywhere. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
They're sort of here, there, and everywhere, just spaced around. What kind of thing
Oh,
are
I
you
see.
wanting to do?
Aldrin just wants to like approach someone and have a chat, basically.
Okay.
About kind of like draconic ancestry and stuff.
Cool.
I was thinking
So this guy's a
maybe to
dragonborn
just
here.
start a positive conversation. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like introduce himself.
So
Just
this is
slightly, not like
this is a dragonborn stood in front of you. But you with a are you using your hero token on this?
yeah.
Okay. So just a charisma check just to get into conversation
Sure.
with this person. That's a success, so you'll be able to talk to this person next session. Isabel, Ruby, anything that you want to do?
Oop.
Well,
Good
with the
thing I
6, you
used
would it's fine. The hero token would be an auto success anyway.
Dude,
Isabel and Ruby, what would you like to do?
Would it be too far for me to go investigate where the rocks were? On my own?
No, not too far at all. We'll be doing that next time, but yeah, you can go and investigate them. Okay, so then you will be over that way. Let me just... I'll tell you what. It's easier if I just delete your token and then put you over there. Copy you. And then the whole world goes black for you. And there you go. You're over there now. And Ruby, what would you like to do?
I feel like Ruby's just walking through Gormless.
Okay.
You're
Doing
you're
spins on the
babysitting
spot.
time.
Ruby does a spin on the
I
spot.
know. I feel like. Yeah, I can't really do a check for that. I'll use my hero point to do a backflip. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to cover for the fact that Victor is just making a complete twit of himself, and
So,
Ruby's
yeah.
just like, I'm going to do a sick backflip, then everyone's going to stare at me.
Victor is definitely looking like a goober, but thankfully no one's paying any attention to him. Let's see. So if you use your hero token to
Maybe
do
it's
the
because
best
I do a
fucking
sick backflip.
ever, so you're doing
Yeah.
the most impressive backflip you've ever done.
Yeah.
It's not a crit because it's just like the equivalent of a good success. But yeah, you do a very cool backflip and you even land it in the snow. And people they do that kind of thing that I don't know if anybody here can understand. You probably will understand what I'm talking about immediately, but you know that kind of like teenage goth like hope to look impressed but not look impressed. Do you know what I mean? Like where they're sort of like, I guess that was cool, when actually they are really impressed, but they're just not trying to. They're trying not to show it. That's the kind of thing that people here are doing. Yeah, where they're sort of like shrugging to themselves, like, I guess that was an alright backflip. Kind of like that kind of look on their faces.
A different sort of masking.
Try to play it off as cool. Yeah, exactly. Trying to play it off as like they're cool, but really they think that you're really fucking cool. And that's exactly what you get from this, from a bunch of the people around you. As you approach Victor
Ruby feels like
from
top
behind.
cat.
And Victor, as you approach this second crossroads, very good that you did use the hero token for your auto success, because you do spot a relic further down the alleyway. Down the street.
Ooh,
Can I use
I
my hero
didn't look.
token for investigation that gets on to next week? Would that be
That
cheeky?
investigation I have clocked. Don't worry. That's why I've moved you over to the standing stones. So
Okay.
yeah, this is Areli. I completed this artwork earlier today. You notice for one that she's lost her hair. But you can also see with that successful hero token use, that one of this blade that she's got in her hand that she's like flipping around this dart, that the ring on it, it looks very similar to something that you have seen before. Like she's taken it and fashioned it into a weapon. But yeah, she's sort of just wearing very, very nondescript clothes. Nothing too dark or foreboding because that's very roguish and people tend to look for that kind of thing. What she's wearing tends to sort of fit in with the masses while also being not too showy. But yeah, this is
Same.
Areli.
Cool.
Cool.
Very, very fucking cool.
And that will be the end of our session. Thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank you.
Wow, what a
Thank you,
fucking... Yeah, no problem. What a session. You really had a chunky episode today. You got
Yeah.
through so much. Went down into the deep dark realm. You've made it as far as Rumpel's shop. Which, by the way, you can see him through the window. He's in there.
Oh,
Fucking knew it.
found him.
But you also see Areli. So now you are torn between, do you go for your vendetta or do you find your friend who might not have seen you yet?
Are they in the same building?
Yeah, he's right here.
Hmm.
This is Rumpel's
Okay.
shop. Yeah.
Oh,
You can
maybe
see him
they're
through the window, like
friends.
literally you can see him there as a token.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So, thank you everybody for being here, for being awesome. I'm sorry that Ash and Briar couldn't have been here. And I'm trying to get the spoons together to start posting these videos on YouTube once more, but by God, if I just don't have it in me at the moment. So we'll just catch them up when they get back here next time. But it's been sick as ever. And yeah, I was excited for you to get as far as you could, but there was no guarantee that you were ever going to find Areli this time. But you just happened to make the right decisions at all of the right times, and by God, if you did it with me cheering you on in the background, thinking, yeah, these guys are fucking getting somewhere. You got some information from a fire elemental that was completely out of left field. I was not expecting that, but completely makes sense that a creature that is been alive before time itself would probably know about the other creatures that were alive before time itself. And you've got a fresh line of investigation to go down with all of those gods and with Ox as well. And now you find yourself in a new place with new creatures around. And new exploration on the same terrain that you've known and tread these whole 30 sessions before now. This was session 31.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Could we just tell
Thank you.
tell Briar and Tats that we still in Dreed or we haven't gotten anywhere?
Still Skin's dead.
Yeah, just a lot of people have shown up out of nowhere. There's nothing really here. Yeah, no. So, well, the good thing about this is that I can put these maps into Photoshop and reduce the saturation on them, so that then it will look like a different place, and I can put it in as a secondary dreidel in Foundry,
cool.
and then you'll be able to see it as the grey that it would be.
Nice.
But
I
yeah,
could be
that's
emo
something
Isabel.
again that I will need to find the spoons for because I still haven't winterized every other map.
No
It's been a
worries.
time. Well, thank you all again for being here and for being very cool. We're gonna end the stream here. Just I guess if you can't be good to yourself, at least have fun. Thank you again, and goodbye.
Thank you. Love
Au
you
revoir,
too.
bye.
Bye.